High volume, preferably in a residential area.
Yeah. Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the two-ball-sphere, to you, the individuals, part of this collective. Welcome to the OMSR, much anticipated Gen 5.0 with your brief but very concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Throw. Doing the tournament reviews from the weekend. See from a few of the, we're going to call them from now on, not too happy with this younger generation fraternities, all this, you know, bad juju coming up in the news. No more Pi Kappa Alpha references. Although I will say at the U of U, in the 5 years I was there was never anything like that going on. So we got the house cheerleaders for the OMSR there. And Dwayne Darnett's Ultimate Sports Fan. Alright, so the beauty of Gen 5.0, much anticipated, especially on my part, is you're going to get more highlights. I get to indemnify the OMSR position in the context of CYA, get to do more show, but the beauty of it is that they're all going to be fused together. All right, so still going with the snapshots, little previews of stuff coming up. Highlights-wise, from the weekend, this episode main focus on, we'll end with Seth Davis being such a good sport there on CBS. Takes the jokes in good stride. Definitely. I remember when he first started, I want to say like 12 years ago. No more than 15. He was he's definitely old school veteran now. But when he started, he was kind of rough around the edges. Oh, I'm from Sports Illustrated. He's not the most camera-friendly personality, but good stuff going on there. All right, so the focus being on Wichita State, Kansas, losing to him. Indiana losing to them, what's in for their future. That'll lead to the Quickie Sport Rant, and it'll be in a nice little Will in the box. You might be saying, well, Will, what in Helsinki are you talking about? Roll it. Man on point, commentator-wise. I'm going to keep it short and brief until we get to the segue on the Quickie Sport Rant. So, I have a couple of things to say of the stuff coming up after I did put it together.
And it's a wonderful opportunity, and whoever plays the best
So, Wichita State, doing well.
Wichita State. We will see that game on Sunday, but before we get there,
and
I mean, Tom Green, fair enough.
Sure, a lot of you probably saw this.
Indiana, something maybe because that team may determine that might.
Yeah, for their first game with Indiana. Now this is interesting. Dan Dawkich's
I hope he doesn't get fired. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get fired. I think Tom's done a really good job for Indiana basketball, bringing it back from the Calvin Sampson era. But I'll say this: 7 years into the job, Indiana basketball
can you call
is not where it needs to be.
an era
frankly,
when dude was
You're
there,
talking about
like,
in the Big Ten.
didn't even coach like 1 year, right? How that whole debacle unfolded.
And the truth of the matter is, if we went through that press conference, Indiana's talking about, well, we fought really hard. Indiana University basketball should not be the little engine that could. Indiana University basketball with 5 national titles and all the fan base and the recruiting base and all the notoriety that should be a blue blood
the
program.
question becomes,
and when it's not, people have to discuss
why the word should. It should not be the phrase, because of the past glory. That's what I'm going to allude to. That's what I'm alluding to for the sport.
And a guy that spent 17 years there playing and coaching, Indiana basketball to me is nowhere near where it needs to be. And that when it's not, people care enough that it's going to be a problem for the coach.
Hoosiers go out as a 10-seed Wichita State advanced on Thursday.
Wow. I mean, look at UConn and Syracuse this year, right? The Big East on a whole as a conference.
We want this.
You know, you could say it needs to be so-and-so like that as well. But
Big brother, and I'll tell you what,
gotta be patient.
To beat Kansas. Kansas team is not the same type of Kansas team that we've seen in the past. They don't have the interior presence. Not neither does Wichita State for that matter. But the motto is play angry. You're going to see some angry ball.
Back in a second.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I think Kansas is going to win.
You do? I do. And I'm the veteran Wichita State.
I get all that.
You heard it here.
Exactly.
You might have missed this part. No, put in a nice little vignette of both CBS and ESPN, since they pretty much have the market cornered on college basketball.
You're going to say it doesn't matter what they did 10 years ago. I believe it does. I believe that certain things carry over. I think Wichita State's really good. I've known Greg Marshall a long time, and I think he's a fantastic coach. But be careful what you wish for. And here's the deal with this.
You know, Dan Dock is usually pretty likable, objective. You start talking about Indiana basketball, objectivity goes right out the window.
Then you got a problem.
You really have a problem, though. I mean, it's Baker, it's Van Vliet, it's Hodge, it's guys who've been there before, one of the best backcourts in all of college basketball. It's not necessarily like a problem if you lose to a great Wichita State team.
No, that's a problem. I don't care who they have. That is if you're Kansas, you are not allowed. Now, what does a problem mean for Bill Self? They're not going to fire him.
That's your motivation in the offseason.
Yeah.
So he's got, another blue blood. If you lose it to schools like Wichita State.
Well, I guess, but I don't know if that's an embarrassment.
Yeah, you hear that, Wichita State Shocker fans? Dissing you. Now, I am a student of psychological tell vis-a-vis the face. Now, you can see here, Coach Bill Self, he's like freaking out. And he's looking over there going, boy, he is actually really worried they're going to lose this. Well, yeah, here's why. Look at those stats. Barkley and Kenny Smith talking about Kansas' inside game going to prevail.
Not so much. Well, I got a lot of young players for the most part.
I think the fact of the matter for Kansas is at the end of a shot clock, you have one guy that can make a move on his own.
And the Big 12 on a whole. I mean, we've seen it over the first weekend, right?
Within the box, in the paint.
He's got a game enough.
I think this team, they're heavily reliant upon a three-point shot and jumpers. And they didn't have any low post play. This would have been a different team if Cliff Alexander were in the picture.
And I don't think Alexander makes any difference. He wasn't very good.
I still think he would, but you never know. We could have blossomed into some kind of low post threat, or even just a viable low post threat. They had no low post threat at all.
You know what the key for them is? Recruiting. Go get some dudes. You need to go get some players, because I'll tell you what, Kansas
segue to the quickie sport
Kansas team that we've used.
2 years, best in the nation, good for a winning percentage, well over 900. Now they'll get their crack at the Irish in the Sweet 16 next week. Boy, you talk about the backcourt of this team. I mean, and 7 turnovers early for Wichita State. He talked about it, Coach Marshall. They came out a little bit tight because it was Kansas, but then once they found themselves, they were unstoppable.
Van Vliet, Baker, and Takel Cotton combined for 48 points. And that's big-time performances. And when the road doesn't get easy for Greg Marshall, you think about the past 4 years in the NCAA tournament. 2 years ago, they get to the Final Four, they lose to Louisville. Last year, they lose to Kentucky. This year, they play Indiana in the first round. Then they turn around, they play Kansas, and now they're going to play Notre Dame. And these
Quickie Sport Rant time. Zoom out for the closeout segment and leave you with the majority of the highlights. Don't worry. This way you get the full effect of Dwayne Darnett, the concept being most of us have sat there and been watching a particular sporting event. Take your choice of language, of course. So-and-so, this, that, and the other, right? So in this case, it's the notion of Darnett notion of these blue blood schools who have this sense of should be, this isn't good enough based on how it was. Well, like Dan Dockich was saying not too long ago, careful what you wish for. If any school could play that card, I think you'd all agree, UCLA, right? But there's something to be said about here in SoCal. It's just one of many interests. And yes, there's a love for UCLA basketball here, and there was a lot of complaining going on. Dude from Pittsburgh wasn't repeating Final Fours year in and year out. So due to replaced him, UCLA really went down, and Steve Alford is finally getting back up to speed. So the coaches there at Kansas and Indiana have proven themselves in the past. They've had good teams. Recently, I think you could say easily, from Kansas and UCLA, more players leaving early to the NBA before Calipari, Kentucky. Calipari, Memphis, yes. Derrick Rose and all them. Guard before Derrick Rose, forgot his name. A couple other Memphis State players left early. Can't blame the coach for that. It's cyclical. You're not going to be able to do that year in, year out. And this notion also that at Wichita State, you can't lose to a small school. Would Indiana fans be saying this if, say, like, they'd lost to a bigger school from one of the power conferences, but you don't typically think of in basketball? Say, like, oh, I don't know, in the tournament you're going to lose to Oregon State? Something to think about, right? All right, leaving you with the highlights now. Thanks for watching those silly DUIs while you're out there celebrating the rest of the tournament. Reminding you, sports and alcohol, they are joined at the hip.
Can't wait. I cannot wait on Sunday. I am so excited. I'll go to church, I'll pray, and I'll come back, and I can't wait to see Tom Izzo hook up with Michigan State against Virginia. That's the one game that can end the dream for Virginia. Last year, 61-59, Michigan State in the Sweet 16. Now to get to the Sweet 16, they're going to have to beat them in terms of Virginia beating a quality Michigan State team. But the good news for Virginia, even though they had a little bit of struggle today with Belmont, the good news is Justin Anderson was back, scored 15. He was shooting that ball, tucked the elbow in, had good rotation, good follow-through, just like you, Mr. Connor. Great follow-through, smooth.
Yep, didn't look like the finger bothered him a bit. He looks like he's back, and that's going to be a great matchup with Michigan State. Dick, always good chatting with you. We'll chat with you later on this weekend.
Hey, Chris, you're doing a heck of a job. I want to be your agent, man. What a future you got. I get 10%. In fact, I'll represent you for 5%.
That sounds like a good deal, Dick. Thank you, my man. Guy knows how to promote. I'll give him 5%. Sharp as a tactic, Vitale. He knows what he's talking about.
Till the end.
Kentucky on against Villanova with 3 spots up for grabs on Sunday. Tom Izzo's club playing very well. Virginia, 2 seed. Defense again, first half. Travis Trice finishes on the other game.
He had 13 straight points in this game.
He had 13 points in the first 6 minutes of the ball game, and even that pass right there, showing a little bit of magic. For Travis Trice.
Look at Dawson running.
Michigan State won this game on defensive end. We talked about Virginia's defense. Michigan State was terrific defensively.
This is the play of the game right here. Shot clock winding down Trice. The long bomb, under 3 to play. That really was the backbreaker, and Michigan State goes on to win another disappointing loss for Coach Bennett in Virginia. Dayton playing in their backyards in Columbus, taking on Oklahoma. Dayton, the 11th seed, hanging with Oklahoma in this. When we go second half, just over 6 minutes to play. Buddy Hield in transition, Jay.
Oklahoma came out in this ball game, got a quick start, and Dayton found themselves fighting back in the ball game, but the guards were too much for Dayton down the stretch.
Scoochie Smith. Dayton down just 4, though, as I said, hanging in there. Then there's still, this is a play of the game here by Hield.
Get out of here.
Oh, beautiful block after the turnover by Oklahoma. This really sealed it because Dayton was about to make it a 1-possession game at that point. But Hield with the great block. Lon Kruger becomes the first coach in the seeding era to take 4 different teams to the Sweet 16. Now Oklahoma, he took K-State, Florida, and UNLV beforehand, and he spoke after the game.
Dayton played great. Coach Miller does a fantastic job, and yet our guys hung in there, and Dayton made their run. I thought our guys made some stops defensively right there that converted into offense, and again handled things well down the stretch.
For our guys, it was a really tough, hard-fought game. I thought to start the game, the wind, the legs, they kind of shocked us a bit, but once we started to get our feet on the ground a little bit, we became ourselves, and quite frankly.
Terrible miscommunication by Oklahoma, but then Davis goes in a little bit soft, and Buddy Hield not quitting on the play. How about the athleticism?
To the victors go the dancing shot. Repeatedly. That's pretty impressive. Pretty good stuff.
He's done that before, right?
Off to Syracuse for the Sooners. Suddenly he just doesn't look as cool.